Hi again. We are still on the topic, the time value of money, and this is in continuation with our previous discussion. The last case that we have discussed is when we want to find the period or ang n, diba? Using the logarithmic formula or logarithmic derivation of our basic formula that we used. So today, we will be discussing about relating a uniform series or annuity, it's what we call, to its present and future equivalent values. Okay. So this figure shows a general cash flow diagram in which we have discussed in our previous topic na. This involves, as you can see, this involves a series of uniform or equal receipts, each of amount A, na siya A, occurring at the end of every period. So, kung ano ang start, at the end of period na siya A. A, at the end of every period. And with interest, napod siya interest rate per period. So, yan na siya interest rate na I% per period. So, such a uniform series like this is what we call annuity. It should be noted that the formulas and tables to be presented are derived such that A occurs at the end of each period, and thus, sige, we will CP this is the present equivalent value that occurs one interest period before the first A uniform amount and number 2, CF, is our future equivalent value that occurs at the same time as the last A and N periods after P. And lastly, the third one, A is the annual equivalent value that occurs at the end of periods 1 through, this is 1, through N inclusive. Okay, so the timing relationship for P, A, and F can be observed in this figure, in our figure na nasa screen. And there are 4 formulas that we will be discussing today relating A to F and P that is already developed. Sige, let's start with our. Okay, so this is the first formula that we are going to cover for annuity topic or uniform series. So, finding F when given A. Do I still have to show you how we arrive with this formula? Sige, let's try. Let's try na lang. So, pero may importante din. Because this formula is derived by geometric sequence, using geometric sequence na naa siya'y common ratio. Anyway, sige, common ratio of 1 plus I raised to negative 1. So, dira siya nag-start, and if we're going to recall ang sum of the first n of a geometric sequence, we will have Sn is equal to a1 minus b an sub n 1 minus b, where of course b is not equal to 1. B should not be equal to 1. And then with the atong formula, we have here saan siya 1 plus I n minus 1 minus 1 over 1 plus I. Substitute lang. From the geometric sequence ni siya. So 1 minus 1 over 1 plus I. Kani siya, ang A1 ani, ang A1 ani from here, the A1 is the first term in the sequence, and the AN is the last term, diba? And B is the common ratio. Tawag na to common ratio. So if we let B nato equal to 1 plus I raised to negative 1, and ang A1 nato is equal to 1 plus I raised to n minus 1, sorry, and then if an is equal to 1 plus I raised to 0, then makuha ni nato siya nga formula here. Now, that's not it, kay we still have to simplify this one. Okay? So, from this formula na we extracted or derived from the geometric sequence with these substitutions here, if we are going to reduce that one, mahimo na din siya f is equal to a, actually this one, minus 1 over I. A times 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 over I. So, muna siya if i-reduce na to siya. So, si quantity na 1 plus I raised to n minus 1, this one here, kani siya here, is what we call the uniform series compound amount factor. There. So, muna siyang again, the uniform series compound amount factor. So, it is a starting point for developing the remaining 3 uniform series interest factors. And numerical values for the uniform series compound amount factor are given sa, actually, na table for this, and na ay column dito nga na siya wide range of values of I and N. So, we shall use of course, we have the functional symbol. And, kani siya. Muna itong gamiton. So, let's, siguro, in real life application for this is, kani siya, mga wealth accumulation, or we have here the future, in this case, the future value of a college degree. See, let's try to cover this example. See, let's read. A recent government study reported that the college degree is worth an extra $23,000 per year in income, A, compared to what a high school graduate makes. If the interest rate I is 6% per year and you work for 40 years, N, what is the future compound amount F of this extra income? So you have this given. So the solution of the problem is ang sige, bali si A ani ang given ani is A nga $23,000. What else? Natay I 6% and N na 40 years. What else? Okay. So pangitaon na to C, F. Okay. The viewpoint, according to the solution, the viewpoint we will use this to solve this problem is that of lending the $23,000 dollars of extra annual income to a savings account. The future equivalent is the amount that can be withdrawn after the 40th deposit is made. Pwede in ana ang perspective nato na atong iset. Okay, so we have here a diagram na ang graduate, so ibutan na to, this is the diagram na mag-start ka 0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 140. So pila ang future, niya, pila ang amount na ma-withdraw ni mo bali on the 40th deposit. Okay, so let's say na si A nato is 23,000. So notice that the future equivalent occurs at the same time as the last deposit of $23,000. So here, nag-compute lang siya na atong formula, which is 1 plus in this kanang functional na notation, and we have here, pag imo ni siya i-compute, i-substitute what is given, you will get A multiplied by 154.762, and then lastly, ang imong F is $3,559,526. The funny thing is that ang conclusion is get your college degree. Diba? Get a college degree. So if you feel like you're giving up now, or kanang kapoy na sa kadaghan mga magsabay-sabay og mga assessment, mga exams from laboratories to mga requirements. So just think of the bigger kanang value sa future niya if you're able to really finish your college degree. Of course, it's not just the degree, pero ang hard work and perseverance that comes with it. So yun, grabe lessons. Sige, I think we still have another example for this. Oh, wala na di ay. Na-wrong ko. Sige. Here is finding P when given A. So, sige, let's not, go through yun sa siya pag-derive ang formula. But, so, mo ni siya ang iyang functional symbol. This is correct. And here, sige, let's move to the example so that we will know how to apply or use this formula. Here we go. A microbrewery is considering the installation of a newly designed boiler system that burns the dried, spent malt, and barley grains from the brewing process. The boiler will produce process steam that powers the majority of the brewer's energy operations. There is a saving here of $450,000 per year over the boiler's expected life of 10 years. If the interest rate is 12% per year, how much money can the brewery afford to invest in the new boiler system? Si microbrewery is gusto nila mag-install og bagong newly designed good na boiler system. Okay, so ang boiler daw na kana siya na ilang i-install will produce process steam that powers majority of the brewer. So na kay savings from the existing, I think ni nga in comparison na $450,000 or expected life. The boiler's expected price is 10 years, and if the interest 12% per year, how much money can I borrow? Okay, sige. Solution. So we have your cash flow diagram, and if we are going to notice the affordable amount, P, that occurs one time period year before the first end of cash flow, before the first end of year cash flow, 450,000. Yes, so sige, $450,000. So, na kay 450 nga savings mo na ni siya. Then 10 years ang life sa imong boiler nga imong i-invest. So pila ang P niya? Pila ang imong invest sa first? Okay, so yeah, if ato na siya i-compute, we are going to use this one. So gamito nato ni siya, mo ni siya ang solution niya. So the increase in annual cash flow is $450,000, and it continues for 10 years. Diba? Kay savings man siya. For 10 years at 12% annual interest. Savings siya per year, so naagad siya per year, and 12% per year ang interest rate niya. The upper, for 10 years, the upper limit on what the brewery can afford to spend on the new boiler is being computed with this formula. So that would be 450,000. Multiplier, pag i-compute ni nato, makakuha tag 5.6502. So in total, ang P is 2,542,590. So muna ang dapat nila na amount so that mag-cost para maka-invest sila of new boiler system. Okay, next. Another case would be finding A when given F. If you can recall our first example, our first basic formula, from that we can derive this formula na A is equal to F times I over 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. So this equation right here is the relation for finding the amount A of a uniform cash flows occurring at the end of n interest periods. That would be equivalent or have the same value as its future value occurring at the end of the last period. So the quantity in the brackets that we see here is what we call the sinking fund factor. Okay, so we could also write this, the functional symbol A is equal to F times A over F, I percent, and N. So, muna siya ang functional symbol for this equation right here when finding A pag given ang F. Okay, so another case would be finding A when given P. Now this, we can solve A by using this equation right here, and this is the relation. This formula, this equation is the relation for finding the amount A of a uniform series of cash flows occurring at the end of each of n interest periods. That would be equivalent to or could be traded for the present equivalent value nga P. Okay, occurring at the beginning of the first period. So the quantity in this brackets is called the capital recovery factor. One minus, okay, capital recovery factor. And we also have a functional symbol right here. So this is its functional symbol represented by this equation. So as an example for our given cases, let's have an example. So ang given is let's say you borrow $15,000 from your credit card. To purchase a used car. The interest rate on your loan is 0.25% per month. And you will make a total of 36 monthly payments. What is your monthly payment? Na siya ang question. So, pila imong monthly payment if mag-borrow ka og 15,000 sa imong credit card para mo palit og second-hand na car with ang interest nimo sa imong loan is 0.25% per month and naakay 36 monthly payments. So we have here, let's try to draw cash flow diagram. So let's say nga pila 36 months, no? So 0, 0. This is 3, 2, 1. So cut na to 35, 36. Pila na siya 1, 2, 3. So 36 months and ang imong i-borrow una is pila to $15,000. And let's say na makaibayro nun per ko ano monthly. So pila imong monthly. Okay, so end of month. Okay. Now, the cash flow diagram here is drawn from the viewpoint of the bank. So, si bank na maningil. Okay. Notice na ang present amount of $15 occurs 1 month interest period before the first cash flow. So, nag-occur na siya daan before ang first cash flow of the uniform repayment series. So, the amount of car payment is easily calculated using the equation nga sa equation ani this one kani siya na siya nga equation. So naa kay gamito na to na ha $15,000 A, P, I percent N. Alis din na nato si I percent o 25. So 1/4% o 36. Na kay pag ato na siya kuan na kay 0.0291. So therefore you have the compute na nimo siya na kay 436.5 per month na bayranan per dollars. Okay. Yeah, so this is it. That's how you compute the monthly payment. Okay, sometimes we may have information about a present amount of money and the magnitude of an annuity A and the interest rate I. So ang unknown factor for this case is the number of cash flows in the annuity N. So number of cash flows. So let's have an example. Prepaying a loan, finding N. Your company has a $100,000 loan for a new security system it just bought. The annual payment is $8,880 and the interest rate is 8% per year for 30 years. Your company decides that it can afford to pay $10,000 per year. After how many payment years will the loan paid off? Nice. Nasa'y loan amount. Okay, nasa'y loan amount. And then, ang annual payment na sa loan, base sa loan is kani siya. And na interest rate per years for 30 years. Pero, sa company, instead of 8,880 per month, maka-afford ang company of 10,000. So, of course, mula sa ang 30 years, diba? Kay si 8,880 is for the 30 years. So, pila na lang ka years, how many payment will the loan be paid off? How many payment years will the loan be paid off? So, how long will it take if 10,000 per year ang ihatag ni company, ibayad ni company? Okay, so that's what the problem is. So, the original loan payment, we are still going to use the same what they call that one, the same formula that we used a while ago in our previous example. Okay, so let's start by A, pila $100,000 and A of P, 8%, diba, in 30 years. So therefore, naakay 8% of 30 is substitute nimo dito, you will get so this same formula, no, the formula that we are going to use is the katong finding A when given P. A is equal to P I 1 plus I raised to N and 1 plus I raised to N minus 1. So kana siya. And computing this one here, makakuha ta og factor nga 0.0888. 0.08882 or sige, dara na lang taman. So this is, i-multiply pa man niyo siya. Meron siya imong multiplier. So you will have A nga 8,800 per year. Ay, 8, sorry. 8,800 per year. Now, instead of paying 8,800 per year, si company, diba, wants to pay 10,000 na lang per year. So, of course, just what, like I mentioned earlier na, less than 30 payments na lang will ang necessary to pay off the $100,000 na loan. So, using the equation nga we have put earlier, let's try to recall kani siyang equation. Okay. Finding P. Finding P when given A. So, kindly scan your notes about this formula sa equivalent ani nga equation niya. Okay, but sige, I'll just gonna write it here. Equivalent na functional symbol is 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 and I times 1 plus I raised to n. Yes, that one. So, by using this formula, we find na ang $100,000, okay, is i-replace na to, no? Na kay $10,000 na ginapay and P of over A 8% in N. Kay kanina time pangitao naman nato ang N niya. So let's try to use the interest tables. So I will be giving you na lang the interest tables on a separate LMS na material in PDF sa mga interest tables. So here, so this is the interest tables na siya corresponding discrete compounding na interest rate. For our example, let's take I is equal to 8%. So since nakakuha naman ta og na ta og diba ang we have this PA 8% and N equals to 10. Katong gi-equate na to ang $100 sa pikas sa right side na equation. So nanataani. So because we have this result, this 10 here, pangitao na to sa 8% na interest, and that's why we are looking at table C11 and question mark CN. So P of A na column ang atong tan-awon. So this is why we're looking at here. So let's try to find the 10 which is naa diri and kanipod siya. And ang equivalent ana nga N is 20 and 21. So we have to let's say P A 8%, 20 equal to 9.8181, and PA 8%, 21 equal to 10.0168. So if 10, therefore if $10,000 is paid per year, the loan will be paid off 21 years instead of 30. So, of course, ang exact amount sa 21st payment will be slightly less than 10,000. Kay nanubra man ta dere og 10 point something mani point zero, nanubra man siya ang iyang factor, present worth factor. So, yeah, so kana na siya. Mauna na siya, and that's how we make use of our table. Mga table na present na ay mga present worth factor. Okay. Now, for this case, finding the interest rate I given A, F, and N, let's look at the situation in which you know the amount A, we have A here, and the duration N of a uniform payment series. So, you also know the desired future value na F. What you don't know is the interest rate I that makes them equivalent. As was the case for an unknown N, there is no single equation to determine kung ma-solve na dayon nato diretso ang I. However, we can use the known relationships between I, A, F, and N, and the method of linear interpolation. So, natayo yung linear interpolation na buhaton to approximate the interest rate. So, let's have an example. After years of being a poor, debt-encumbered college student, grabe na, you decide that you want to pay for your dream car in cash. Not having enough money now, you decide to specifically put money away each year in a dream car fund. So, nakay dream car fund for para sa imong dream car. The car you want to buy will cost $60,000 in 8 years. You are going to put aside $6,000 each year for 8 years to save for this. At what interest rate must you invest your money to achieve your goal of having enough to purchase the car after 8 years? So, pila interest rate must you invest your money to achieve your goal of having enough to purchase the car after 8 years? Sige. Let's use the equation, that we have on our previous example. F is equal to, so nangita man taog ka ng relationship nga pasok sa banga ang mga given nato, and pwede nato ma-utilize. So, diba, equal po din siya sa if iyang ka ng functional symbol niya, F over A, I%, and N. So, okay. So, kana sa for now. And then, pila galito kani siya? $60,000 and naakay 6,000 each year. Future amount ni siya, diba? Nga $60,000 in 8 years. And mag-put aside man ka og 6,000 sa ibutang na nato as A. So, ana siya for 8 years. Okay? So, therefore, pila ni siya kung kwentahon na to. I-divide lang na to. Makakuha ka og 10. Okay. So again, let's use the interest tables in appendix to help track down the unknown value of I. So gamiton to nato ang table. So I just followed kung unsa ang naa sa solution, no, and I tried looking at the interest table sa appendix C na iya pasabot. So ang mahitabo di ay is actually I did not look diretso diri sa I equal to 6%. Nagsugod gid ko sa 1%, and then gitan-aw lang nako ang f of kay diba naman tay kani siyang functional symbol, kani siya mo ni siya tong guide, and since f over a man na siya, so diri ta magtan-aw nga column. Okay, and magtan-aw ta sa n nga 8. So kana siya. So dapat ang ato makit-an diri is 10. Kani siya na value, 10 na siya. Sabay done. Yeah, so 10 dapat ni siya. So nag-start ko og tan-aw sa 1% nga f over a nga column, and then row nga n is equal to 8. Gipangita na ko ang 10. So niabot ko 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6. Pag abot na ko og 6, 9.89. So sa 7 naman, in the next. So this is what the I is equal to 7% looks like. Sa column na f over a, na kay, again, tanaw na to sa 8. So na kay 10.25. 10.2598. Therefore, ang mga values nato for our interest rate is ang qualified is I equal to 6 and I equal to 7. So, okay. And, ang isa ka value, kani siya, si 6% is less than 10 ang value niya. And while ang I is equal to 7%, greater than 10 po ang kaning value niya. So what should we do now? Okay, because we are torn between two lovers, torn between two f over a nga factor, and 10.2598. So which is which? Since wala tay 10, pwede ta mo gamit og linear interpolation. So this is what I mentioned earlier, that we can use linear interpolation for this para makuha na to ang exact value nga 10 yun na kanang musulod yun siya sa 10. So here we have a graph. Okay, ang dash curve, kani siya. Here is what we are linearly approximating. Muna siya ang atong gi-approximate. Ang answer I can be determined by using similar triangles dashed in this figure. So ang ato buhaton is si line DA over line ED, line DA and line ED is equal to, say ko niya, equivalent niya, line BA and line CB. This one here, CB. So ang I nato naman ta equivalent pod ani nga interest rate per year, no, na representation. So si I, ang nato I prime is equal to 0.06. Mo ni siya si 0.06 and mo ni siya si 0.07. So tunga-tunga man atong gusto. Okay, so I equal to Wait lang. Himanon sa nato si line ED. Si line ED is ang katong atong mga values, ang mga factors na nakuha. So, 10 minus 9.8975 equal to equal to 0.07 minus 0.06. That's BA, no? BA. So, 0.07 ang distance niya minus 0.06. And ang y niya na distance is determined by 10.2598 minus 9.8. So, sige. That's 9.8975. So, si I prime is equal to 0.0628 or 6.28% per year. So, if you can find an investment account that will earn at least 6.28% interest per year, you'll have, makuha na to nimo ang $60,000 na you need to buy your dream car in 8 years. Diba? E di wow. Sana all my car. So, that's how you utilize the interest tables. And if dili nimo makuha ang exact, you can do interpolation. Actually, this is just a visual nga this figure is kani siya visualization lang para dili pud maglibog. So, I recommend na you also use this one. Kay mas dali man siya tan-awon labi nang magkuha ka sa mga distance niya. Not really distance ha, but nagkuan magud ta og triangle dere. So, yeah. And that's the end of our lecture 2. Lecture 3. Topic 2, lecture 3C. I think this is 3C. So, thank you.